Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor NSFW Network, home of the Circle NSFW podcast. We are here to discuss episodes 9 to 12 of the Circle Brazil, and we are joined today by two invited guests. First guest here is Paula Castro. I hope that didn't massacre that too badly.
Oh, it's perfect.
Ana is an actual Brazilian, lives in Brazil. Old friend of mine and a reality TV super fan of a bunch of shows. And she has a bunch of things she wants to say about this. And we are also joined by Abby Maria Gomes of Survivor Philippines and Survivor Second Chances. Hi, Abby Maria.
Hi.
Hi.
Now, I promise, no bracelets, okay? I don't have any.
You promise? All right, good.
Sorry, had to do it. Okay.
It's okay.
So I guess my first question before we start looking just at the episodes is just at the Circle Brazil as a whole. How is it being received? Are there any ratings? I mean, I don't know. In the US, at least, there are no ratings for Netflix. But do you have any idea of the ratings? Do you have any idea how much social media buzz has there been? Let us know what's going on. Abby Maria, what do you think?
I was flipping through it and I saw it right there as trending. So I believe it must be trending in the US and in Brazil. I loved it, and it deserves a lot of success. I think that the Circle Brazil did a really good job with bringing very strategic players from different areas of Brazil that represented a lot of the Brazilian culture and a lot of the different cultures within Brazil. And I loved how they were really savvy strategically, very intelligent, very pop culture aware. And also, like the soundtrack was amazing. Everything about it was great. I'll stop talking.
It's great. It's a podcast. You're talk. No, so Ana Paula. So my question though is, this is one of the things that I think Americans were really not confused by, but we knew that we were missing parts of the show because there were all of these references to geography and different areas of Brazil. And clearly it informed the alliances and, their stereotypes. So we have the same thing in the US. There's certain stereotypes from different areas. But, but do you agree, Ana, are they influencing play? And, I understand, I'm sure that you could write a book about this, but just quickly, what are some of these stereotypes that people are alluding to and how does it influence the game?
Yes, Brazil is a very large country. We say it has the size of a continent. It's very big. So we have a lot of different cultures in different regions. So they talk a lot about the North and Northeast. Sorry, because those are regions that are more rural. Oh my God, rural. Sorry,
it's a hard word.
You're doing this in a second language, Ana. You're doing it.
It's in Portuguese we say rural.
Rural, yes. A word that's really hard for us to say is quarantined. Oh my God, can you say it? Yeah. Quarantine. Oh my God, it took me forever, and I've lived here all my life. And people are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, quarantine.
Quarantine, yeah. And so
you're saying North and Northeast is more rural?
Yes. It's more rural. On the North, we have a lot of industries, but the Northeast, its climate is hot and dry, and there's a lot of drought all the time. They suffer without water. They suffer a lot. It's a poor region, but they have rich culture. They have amazing music. They have amazing theater. They have amazing artists from there. Their accent is totally different from ours in the Southeast and the South. And there's, of course, a prejudice in São Paulo and Rio, here in the Southeast.
Right.
There are cities that are more industrial and urban, and
Right.
people think they're the only ones who work in the country, and those kinds of things.
We have something
So
similar here in
people
the
from
US. Yeah,
people from the Northeast are oppressed, I think.
Right.
They
Well, I
suffer a lot of,
we'd
so
see-
it creates a sense of pride of their identity, and I think because they are beautiful, like you see, Ray. Do you call her Ray? They
Yes.
call her High. And Gomes,
I love her.
yeah, she's awesome.
She's great.
So it creates a sense of pride in them, and they want to show that they have value and they can be beautiful. You see, the first girl who was eliminated, who was blocked, Anna.
Yeah.
She's from the Northeast, and I talked to her last week.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us.
She was talking about the prejudice she suffers all the time because she's a model, she's beautiful, and we all know that happens to everyone.
Right. Well, I mean,
people.
Well, Anna, so is it similar to, if you watch American Survivor, you see that there are people, often again, people from the more rural areas or whatever, with certain accents. People tend to think that they're not smart, and then we watch the show and we say, clearly they are smart.
And then they look at that picture, a beautiful woman, all the makeup, the blue eyes, and they think she has to be fake. She can't be that beautiful, that successful, and be from the Northeast. It's an example that she says people think all the time about her. People make fun of her accent all the time, and that's
even for somebody who is as successful as she is and how beautiful she is, because she is a Northeasterner, people kind of look down on her. Yeah,
she says that was a factor for them to think she was a fake. She was a catfish.
A catfish.
You can't be so beautiful if you're from the Northeast.
That is so.
It happens a lot. Yeah, it's sad.
Because normally what you see, in the US and in the other seasons is you will see things like, this woman is so beautiful, right? She's got to be a catfish because she can't be that real, especially if she shows some signs of smarts. But we don't have this kind of geographical thing that, you can't even be beautiful if you're from this area.
No, there's that. Some of them,
that's very interesting that you say that, because here in America, I suffer from that a lot. A lot of people don't think that I am Brazilian because I am fair-skinned. And mind you, my mom is half Black. My mom is biracial. Really? Yeah, my dad is very white, but my mom is biracial. So, when people judge me based on how I look, it just really is hurtful.
Right.
It really is hurtful. So I feel it, and I look much younger and I sound much younger than what I am, and I'm 40. So that really affects me in my real life too, honestly. I mean, it's a great thing. Everybody wants the fountain of youth or whatever, the genius. Like sometimes you just want to be taken seriously.
Right.
So
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're saying, but same thing with these alliances, and it really does seem to have had a big influence on the game in terms of you said these people from these areas just felt this need to stick together and
stick together. Yes.
But it happens on Survivor too, though, you guys. Like people from, I've always felt oppressed too and out of place, and like people didn't want to make an alliance with me really, and I had to cling my way through it because I didn't belong to, I was like this alien. Oh, she's like this immigrant. She's like not really from like anywhere that we were from. Like, what do we have in common? So when people ask me, why were you so hated? I'm like, because I was different. And like when you're in situations like that, it's just so easy to just stick with what you know, right? Rather than trying to figure out what you don't know.
Right. Well, that's true. But
every conflict, conflict was, is it cultural? Right.
And I was so scared. And literally now that I've done so much work within myself and everything, because you go through a lot. I realized that absolutely it was cultural. It was so cultural. But at that moment, I was so scared of saying it because I knew the whole world was going to be seeing it. And I'm like, I can't put it on everybody else. So I didn't know what to say. But yes, it was.
But they were putting it the other way around.
And there's another issue that you are playing a game in a second language. And again, so I can tell you same thing. I have lived many years in Israel. My Hebrew is decent, right? But it is not completely native. And you are at a disadvantage when you are trying to play in your second language. And like you said, and there are these cultural things and slang and all these things. I mean, Abby, obviously your English is excellent, but it is still an issue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even though I've lived here like half of my life now, I still have a strong accent because my first language is Portuguese. And then I learned Swedish before I even learned English. So when I came here, I already was speaking 2 different languages before I even spoke English. And then now, like, I feel like I have an accent in every language that I speak. Quando eu falo português, eu tenho sotaque?
Goiás.
Sorry, I just had to throw it in there. I'm like, when I speak Portuguese, do I have like an accent? She's like, like Goiás. And I'm like, oh, okay, caipirinha. Like, what's her name again? I love her. She called herself the caipirinha. Lorraine.
Yeah.
So
loved
cute.
her.
I loved her too.
Loved her.
She played so well. It was so hard to see her.
Yeah. So I mean, we're going to go through all the players, but I just want to finish this and then we can put it aside. In terms of the series, just as a whole, do you feel like, I mean, I was going to say there's a lot of flirting. There's also a lot of flirting in the US version. There was significantly less of that in the UK. So the question is, again, do you feel like the fact that everybody in Brazil seemed to immediately just default to flirting and, we had multiple couples, is that a cultural thing? Or do you think people just did it because they thought it was the way to win the game? And are you upset? And I guess another question I should ask is, should we be upset with the creators of the Brazilian season?
That is actually a really good question. What do you think, Anna? Because you know what? Let me just give you an opinion with the whole dating thing. Like dating in Brazil is literally completely different from dating in the US. Like
tell us.
Oh my God, I do not understand how it works here. Like the whole thing of like dating a bunch of people till you decide who you're gonna like be with. To me, that's insane. Like I do not get it. In Brazil, if you like someone, you claim and then that person is yours. And then that's it. You guys are together. Like there is no like, oh, okay, I'm going to go out on a date with like Karen tonight. And then tomorrow I'm going to go out with Anna. Like if you tell that to a Brazilian girl, like you're crazy. Like they will not like that. But I think that in the game, I think everybody was like kind of playing the game. But yeah, it wasn't anything that serious.
Yeah, but that is important because that might be why we saw people kind of couple up so quickly.
Yeah.
With the exception, JP was flirting with anybody who he thought might be available, but everybody else, they found their person and that was their person.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. In Brazil, it's like that. When you find your person, that's your person. You don't like jump around. Like, no, it's weird.
Yeah, that's why Lorraine freaked out.
That's why Lorraine freaked out. Yeah, that's right. Like
about Ray hitting on JP, hitting on Axel.
Right. So we're gonna.
I just had a realization. That's why I'm still single, and that's why I'm crazy here. It's so hard because I do not understand.
Thank you, the circle.
Thank you, the circle. I know. Thank you. It's cultural. Oh my God, so much. It's like a therapy session right
now. Okay, so let's go. We're going to now jump back into the game because we're going to be this is where we're going to discuss Lolo. The first thing that we see, we're in the end of episode 8, right? We have the cliffhanger. We are JP, Akel. Now, is this Akel? How do I pronounce this man's name?
Akel.
Okay.
Yeah, Akel. Yeah. Akel. He says that Akel.
So we have those 3 are in danger. Akel is blocked. He comes to meet Lolo.
Right? Lolo is Lorraine. Right?
Lorraine.
I gave up even trying to.
He can't speak her name.
Right.
He can't pronounce her name. So he calls her Lolo.
Yeah.
I think Akel called her that, right? I didn't make it up.
Yeah,
But I know
they were so cute. Akel is a total. He's so totally from like the area where I come from. Like guys from my area, they're just like Akel. Like it made me like linger a little bit, like miss my home state because it's like he's so cute. He was adorable. Yes, I was totally flirting with him too.
Adorable together. And so I was wondering, again, because I don't have the ability to check out, their social media because I don't speak Portuguese. Do you know? Did they ever meet after this? Are they together? Do we know? Because I mean, I'm shipping those guys. I
am shipping them too. I don't think they're together. I don't think they're together. Lorraine is smart enough. He's too young. Imagine that. She wouldn't like date someone that lies being a doctor. I don't think she would do that.
She's 22.
He's 22. I know. He's too young.
He's 20 and she's 22 and she said, oh my God, I kissed a child, but she's only 22.
Oh, she's only 22? Oh, I thought she was no. Wow.
Yeah, she's very possessed for somebody her age, but yeah, she's like when she said I kissed a child, I was like, yeah, he's 2 years older than you are.
Yeah. He's 2 years younger.
That's crazy.
He's 2 years younger than her. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so they meet. It's very cute.
I don't think they're together, but they're all friends.
Well, that's the most important
thing.
They're
all doing live streams on Instagram all the time. They're all on social media all the time. And
right. Well, that's
Brazilians are liking it a lot. They are watching it a lot, and I'm happy because in Brazil, Big Brother is the public who decides who gets evicted. Mm-hmm. And I'm loving that Brazilians are experiencing a reality show where the players evict the players.
Oh my God, I didn't know that the Big Brother Brazil, the audience, what?
Mm-hmm. So that's true in a lot of countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately.
The very first season of, I don't want to talk too much Big Brother here, but the very first season of US Big Brother was, I think, similar. And then when Survivor was very popular, they said, let's basically crib some of Survivor onto Big Brother. Let's let people vote each other out.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So we say goodbye to Akel and we say hello to, again, Renan, how do you pronounce that name?
Renan.
Renan.
Very happy to have Brazilians here.
Renan.
Okay. Well, I'm
going to turn on my, real quick, I'm going to turn on my Instagram live real quick. Okay, guys?
Okay.
I'm going to do a little live on
We're going to be on Abby's Instagram live.
Yes. Yay. Hi guys, I'm doing a live podcast right now, so we're live.
Hi. So we are talking. So for the people who just joined us on Instagram, we're discussing episodes 9 to 12 of The Circle Brazil, and we're just kind of still close to the beginning of the episode 9. So
real quick, Karen, sorry. So I can tell my followers what is the link so that they can jump in right now and watch our live.
That's very important. It's at youtube.com/survivor NSFW.
Okay. So all right, guys. So you guys can just join us right now live. We're on a YouTube podcast talking The Circle Brazil, and it's on YouTube, and it is Survivor NSFW. I hope to see you guys all there. Yay.
Okay. So back to it. So so Akel goes, we see his goodbye message, and then we have the She Fights chat. And now, we're not talking about every single conversation because we just don't have the time, but I think this one is important. So we have the She Fight, which is Duma plus the girls. And
what's the name of it in English? What do they call it?
She Fights.
Okay.
You could explain that to me because I didn't really quite get that either.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah. It's like a meme in Brazil when you say, let them fight. That's what it means. But in Brazil, in Brazil, our them,
Mm-hmm.
we separate gender in all pronouns. So
Right.
when it's them, it's elas, she and
Right.
them.
Oh,
So elas que lutem. Let
Elas
them fight. But
oh,
that's
Oh,
the
okay.
gender there. It's elas because it's girls.
thanks for the heart.
Okay.
I think that's why they translated it to she fights, because it has to mean that it was only girls.
right. And it is a chat that is
So the
essentially
meaning is, yeah,
right.
let them fight, but the fight is fight for things, not fight with each other.
Got it. Okay. No, and that's important because again, as an American, we look at this and go, that's kind of a weird name.
Yeah.
I mean, I do understand it's all girls to emphasize that, but makes more
Yeah,
sense.
the
Again,
meaning's like, I'm gonna do this my way and let them fight to get there. Yeah,
so that
that's the meaning.
makes sense then, especially in the context of the game. It's the idea the boys had, and they called it playmakers in English for the guys.
Yes.
And then right, so we basically did have gendered, you know,
Yeah,
with the
the
exception of
Yeah, the guy's chat name is Camisa 10. It's the jersey number. Jersey number 10 is always the best player.
Yeah, because it was Pelé jersey. You know Pelé, like the huge legend when it comes to Brazilian soccer. He's like a huge legend. So like in Brazil, culturally, every time that you call, you were like, oh, you're number 10 shirt, like your number 10 jersey. So they're basically saying that you're like the best. Like you're the best there's ever been.
So it was the manly man chat. It was the 10.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then, and Abby, what do you think about this with Duma's move? And this is also going to come up in the reunion, but we might as well discuss it now. I was interested in this about this move because I just initially thought this was a horrible move when Duma just gave up, just left the Playmakers chat, you know, in disgust. Was that? I mean, nobody seems to have held it against him.
No,
but I thought it was a bad move.
Well, yeah, it was a bad move, but like he was being Brazilian, he was being temperamental, so you know, it was very cultural. So he's just like, I'm over it. And then on top of it, he's like Brazilian, like, and don't take this like with any bad at all. Like I'm hugely in touch with the gay Brazilian community, but like he's gay. They do have their temper. The Brazilian gays, they're
like it is.
Queens. They're literally queens. So respect.
Okay, because I just thought it would have been an even better move to. I mean, obviously he should be in the alliance with the women; those seem to be his more natural allies. But if I were playing, I would be in both chats if I can get.
Get the information, of course.
Yeah. But
he said he changed courses during the game. He started out saying everything he was thinking and getting out of chat rooms, but then he changed a bit. He said, no, I'm going to, he talks about it on the finale. Right. No, I'm going way too hard. I gotta.
Well, doesn't he remind you guys of the actor from You? What is the name of that?
I actually have not seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? You? Oh, Netflix? It's amazing.
I've heard of it. I've heard it's amazing. I haven't watched it.
It's a great series.
Have you seen Gossip Girl?
Oh, is it the same guy?
Dan Humphrey, yeah.
Well, what's his name?
Dan Humphrey from Gossip Girl.
Okay, so yeah, Dumaresky. He looks exactly like that actor. So yeah. So, yeah, he has his like kind of like moments. I can see that happening. Dumaresky was like sort of a villain on The Circle, don't you think?
I mean, well, what do you think, Abby? I mean, you know, you're asking because obviously on some level he might be.
Yeah, I think that like they're proud of being little villains on The Circle. They really they really look at it as like, yes, we're playing a game, so we're gonna like outplay and outlast all these people. Like I love it. It was like so strategy filled. I loved it.
There was a funny moment when Lorraine was dealing with the lie that JP told everyone that she had gotten the surprise from Renan, the breakfast, and someone else was saying she thinks everyone is being lying to her. Yeah, you know, girl, I'm one of them. I'm not being truthful to you. It was funny.
Well, I wanted to discuss that with her because that was the thing, was that she had a good reason, I believe. You know, she did not want to share that in that chat. And I wasn't sure initially if it was Ray, you know, who did she not trust? Did she not trust what Ray? It turns out it is Ray.
Yeah, it was Ray. Yeah.
So she lies about it. And then when JP says that Renan seduced Lola with breakfast, you know, she just said she instantly realized that she was screwed. And that one little moment, which I think was very understandable, really tanked her game.
Right after everyone asked and she lied about it, she should have opened a chat with all the people that she trusted and told them right away. And she didn't do that.
I think you're right. That might have helped, because this is my question though, Abby, you know, because you're right. These are very, very strategic players. So she tells a lie in the game and everybody instantly decides she has to be blocked. I mean, some of these people are catfishes. They're lying too. Why is it that this one little lie that is very understandable?
You don't want to be caught. You don't want to be caught. That's playing the game. You can't get caught. I mean, look at JP. He lied so much. He made it to the end. You can't get caught. Come on. You got to outsmart these people.
Right. But
you got to make an example out of them. You got to make an example out of them. Yeah. You're lying too. You don't want to be caught. So you got to, you get caught lying, you're going to be blocked.
But I think, Anna, you had the right idea. That obviously, you know, look at it. Also, it's this anyone but me, right? When you catch them in a lie, you realize, okay, maybe now I can, you know, push them. They can do
as Sandra says, anyone but me. I think that's the best strategy ever. Like, you just have to be very coy about that one too.
Right. But if she had then, when this happened, like you said, just immediately you open up a chat and you just fess up, you own it.
You own it.
Would she have gotten away with it? Probably.
Because she didn't trust Ray, but she trusted Marina. She trusted other people. She could have easily talked to them in private and said, I didn't want to tell you, I didn't want to say it in front of everyone.
Right.
But it happened like this and this and this. It's okay. Marina was the only one who knew that
Right. Well, Marina, I think, was even while the conversation was happening, Marina realized what was happening.
She was.
But Lola didn't then reach out to Duma and Marina and everybody after the ratings, and then clearly it's too late. So then let's see. The next thing that happens is there's there are ratings, there are results. We have the super influencer, which is something we have also seen on other seasons, where the person who's just number one, which was Luma, gets to block somebody anonymously, and in person, right? Which is also stick the knife in just a little bit.
Luma I loved Luma. I mean, the twins.
Yes.
So freaking mastermind, man. Luma came into play.
I think most of them came into play, and I agree.
Yeah.
Now, and especially, so what do you think about having two people, right, playing as a catfish, right? We saw that also in other seasons. But I mean, is it unfair? Does it give you an advantage? What do you think, Abby?
It's unfair. It gives you an advantage. It's like two brains, in one picture, two brains in one picture, basically. So they're really like helping each other out. When one fumble, the other one, fumble. When one would fumble, the other one would pick the pieces, and put it together.
And especially in this case, because they are identical twins. I mean, again, we've had some of these other teams that don't necessarily work so well. I mean, it can blow up in your face if you're just fighting the whole time, but they have a good enough relationship. But like I said, they could kind of, when one was kind of saying something going too far, the other one could pull the other one back. Yeah, so I understand. And, the visual is great of the two of them. And they use this several times where when Luma is being introduced to somebody, one of them. And then oh my God, you're Luma, whatever. And then the other one comes in. And they enjoyed that. They did it multiple times.
Yeah.
No, but even okay. So let's say there was a little bit of an advantage, but
It is
still,
an advantage. But they were so good.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They had a plan. They had a well-structured character. They had stories. They were great.
They were great.
They were like Lucas. It was nothing. She didn't know who Lucas was. If she had been, remember Lucas? It was
yes,
Loma.
yes.
She had been herself. It would have been much better. The same as the other guy that was Julia. Same thing.
Well,
they didn't have a good character.
Yeah, Luma had the best
plan.
For sure. Yeah, even though it was Julia, the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Even though he was pretty good too, but he was like a bit like, you got to find the center and the middle ground, and the balance. Even when you're the villain, like he was like a little too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And again, that's one of those things, again, where culturally it's hard for me to, in your own culture, you understand where the lines are. But I'm watching Brazilians and I'm like, they're all flirting, they're all whatever. But then suddenly they're all jumping on Julia. So you're saying Julia did cross the line.
She was totally crossing the line. You see, totally. It's so interesting how culturally,
that anti thing, no.
Right. Now, the other thing, though, with Luma, with Lucas and Marcel, and by the way, I'm sorry, I'm going to refer to them as a unit because I never did figure out which one was which. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can't either.
I know.
But the fact that but they did, like you said, they created a very complete character. But it's a character of the opposite sex. This is extremely hard to pull off. And we have seen other people who have not been able to pull it off. And even like with Rob and with both Lucas and Julia were played by people of the opposite sex. But like you said, that might have been part of the problem. But I think, Anna, what you said, and I tend to agree with you, it's not, they didn't get caught up in not knowing something that a woman or a man should know. It was just a lack of having, and my theory is, and I'm sure that I did not create this theory, I'm sure that I probably heard this from Taryn Armstrong or somebody else on RHAP, that when you work as a cat, you play as a catfish, the tendency is to speak less. And when you do speak, to speak in generalities as much as you can. That's how you prevent getting caught. But then on the other hand, then people feel that they really haven't made a relationship with you.
Yeah,
so
true.
But
they were like, time to call Luma. They put on a wig. And
I love that.
Like, so Luma is like this. So
it was their alter ego for sure.
They talk about Luma like she's a real person.
Yeah, they talk about her.
Yeah. And that's so funny because when I talk about Survivor, I always call that girl my alter ego too, because all of my friends are like, that is, I'm like, okay, whatever, guys. Let's just call that my alter ego.
So you see a lot of similarities between you and Luma?
Well, not like me and Luma per se, but like when you are even on a reality TV show, how like certain aspects of you come out because you're kind of like, your alter ego is kind of like shining out. Like you're not in situations that you're dealt with on a day-to-day basis. So, little things from your personality come out. So, the best way of dealing with the hate or the love of everything that comes with it, is just calling it your alter ego, I believe, because if you don't see that as just like a part of what you're going through because it's so intense, then you kind of can get lost in it, even if it's like in a good way or in a bad way, because it's a wave and sometimes some people just don't know how to just turn it off. I don't know. I'm
but this is something that, so it's certainly American fans, I'm not sure again if this works in Brazil, but when American super fans watch reality TV, we refer to characters. Like if I talk about the character I watched on Philippines or Second Chances, that's how I refer to it. I refer to it as a character. I understand that the character is also a real person, but you're watching a very highly edited TV show.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
and it's a story that's being told, and it's being based on a bunch of different people that are playing these games, and I think that the result from that big puzzle that's being put together when it comes to reality TV is that anyone over there, any human out there, can be either the villain or the hero, and it's all based on how the story is being told and the end result. I think that a lot is painted based on who wins the grand prize at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, of course. And I always say, I'm going to give the caveat that I give pretty much every podcast. When I'm talking about these characters, they are characters. And so I can say some things that sound unkind about some of these people. I'm talking about the TV character. I do not know these people. They are probably all lovely and great. And again, even people who watched Abby on TV and might have thought, oh my gosh, I just couldn't get along with this girl. And then, we do meet you in person and you're not that person.
Right. Yeah.
So again, anything I say about, because I might have some things to say about some of these people, not Luma, but we're just talking about the TV character. And again, and like you said, and they choose what to show and not show, like you said, and depending on how it, fits into the story.
Yeah.
So Karen, to answer your question, it's the same for Brazilian fans for shows like Survivor and also The Circle, not Big Brother.
Right.
And we can watch live feed 24/7. People see it. People judge character, and it gets very ugly.
Same thing happens in the U.S. And maybe because of the kind of exposure, like you said, on the live feed, make people feel that they've seen everything, and certainly they have seen more, no question. But I could say my. Of
course, it's another environment, but it's different. Totally different.
Oh yeah. Obviously is an extremely stressful environment. And I think we all understand a little bit more, what the people in the circle might go through in terms of the isolation.
Yeah.
So if any of us are having a little bit of a hard time, being locked up, and you're locked up at home in your house or your apartment, and you have internet and you have your phone and you could talk to anybody you want and you're freaking out. So then you should have a little bit of mercy and understanding for these people who are playing, whether it's Survivor or Big Brother or The Circle or any of the others, about how that stress can influence behavior.
I was joking about that when I talked last week with Ana Carla and Renan. I talked to both of them.
Yeah.
And I was joking with them about that. I said, you are all trained for the quarantine now. So
there have actually been some articles. There have been some articles in the U.S. press about this, asking.
Same thing. Said, but now I have a phone. Now I have my phone, and he was there.
God, that's amazing. So you've been meeting a bunch of the cast from this season?
Yeah, I was on a podcast.
Oh my God, that's so exciting!
I was on a Brazilian podcast last week with Ana Carla and Renan. It was fun.
Oh my God, how fun. Are they nice?
We can certainly link to that podcast, but it is in Portuguese. So
it is in Portuguese.
If we have any Portuguese listeners, we're happy to link to that in the show notes.
Oh, I would love to see it.
So we talked about Luma and Lolo. Then they have this my biggest rival game, and I was going to kind of skip over that just in the interest of time, unless there's anything you felt we really should address. The thing, but that kind of influences the next chat that we see, which I think is important, is when Duma chats JP, and they're discussing their relationship. And Duma admits that he really didn't like JP at first, because the first thing he saw is he's a military man. Besides being a firefighter, he's apparently like a firefighter for the military. So he just kind of had this instinctive reaction to what JP, must be like. And I guess for Duma, again, as a gay man, he just was assuming that this is somebody he wasn't going to get along with.
100%, especially because military men, religious men in Brazil, they can be so awful. And I can totally see how Dumareschi had a reaction, like a negative reaction towards that figure that he saw on his screen, because it's known, they are the worst towards, it's so prejudiced, you have no idea. It's awful. In Brazil,
similar to the U.S., but I think the important part of this is that it turns out, and and I don't know, but I believe him when when JP says, I understand the stereotype, but I'm 100% the opposite of that person, right? I just really believe that everybody should be able to live and let live. And when JP first said that, I thought, oh, that's nice, and and it's good gameplay to say it. And I'm hoping that but then as we get to see more and more of JP, I think it is absolutely true. I love the bromance between the two of them.
Yeah. No, he was really nice. But he has a good aura about him. I'm all about energy. JP did have a good aura about him. He's not like a bad person you can see. Yeah, he was great. He was very,
I was not able to really get a read. It's funny. So you got a read off of him, off his energy. The first 2 batches of episodes, I didn't dislike him. And it was clear pretty quickly. Initially I thought, okay, he's probably a meathead. He looks like he's very muscle bound and maybe not particularly smart or strategic. He clearly was, but I just didn't connect with him, I think, until this.
I think that because I could understand what he was saying in Portuguese and his mannerism, like I could feel that he was not like coming from like a meathead place.
Oh, I know that I missed
an accent. Yeah. That's some things. Yeah. And it was so interesting too, because I would read the translation in English sometimes and I would be like, oh, that's how they're translating this. Maybe I should go work for Netflix.
Were there a lot of things like that where you felt like because again, there were a lot of translations. Yeah, I'm listening to a conversation and I kind of half understand it.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm tutoring Portuguese on the side too. I'll tell you, the Survivor fans have been like the best fans through these like difficult times. So I got 2 Survivor fans that I'm tutoring Portuguese, and I actually told them to watch The Circle Brazil because then they can really understand, how the real Brazilians speak Portuguese and they're loving it. But yeah.
Right. Well, that's great. So we love JP and Duma. They are influencers and they get to go to the blue room, but then they're told, guess what? This is, not a regular influencer chat where you both agree on one person. We're going to do this a little bit differently. You're going to do this live in the circle chat with everybody watching. Each of you is going to block one player until there's only one person left.
Save one player.
Save one player. And then the last person who was not saved, it's like a schoolyard pick, and the last person goes home. So they go back and forth. Renan goes home, and he says, I never had a chance. I'm inclined to agree with him. Abby, what do you think? Is there anything that Renan could have done?
I'm trying to think about Renan. I think that just like how he came off on screen to me is like maybe how he came off on screen to them. Like I'm going to use a Brazilian expression here, and then maybe Ana and I will try and translate this to you. Renan tava pouquinho meio sem sal, né? Desde o começo. So how do I explain this to her? He like had no spice to him.
No spice.
Like even from when he came in,
it was
bland. Vanilla. He was so vanilla. We call it sem sal. He was so vanilla. So yeah, that was my take on him.
And see, that was kind of my take of JP. But again, I am losing all of these little clues that you guys are able to pick up about.
I was never a fan of JP.
You weren't? Okay, so no. Tell me, why were you not a fan of JP?
I don't know. I think it was too much. He was trying too hard.
He was a good player. He was a good
player. Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't like him. Now on Twitter, he's on Twitter and people think he's fake.
No!
People think it's not him. Yeah. People are certain it's not him.
Why? What are they saying on
Twitter?
It's
not him. Because they say he's not talking like he talks in the circle. Totally different. He didn't talk like that. It's not him.
How is he talking?
I don't know. He's talking a lot about politics and and the coronavirus and the situation and politics and Big Brother.
Okay, so he has opinions on things that he would not share in the circle because you don't want to talk about things like politics.
Right.
But
that doesn't really say much.
They talk about words he uses and stuff. I think the other contestants are interacting with that Twitter, so I don't know. I'm not sure. I asked some of them, but nobody answered me if that's really him. But it's funny.
Yeah, no,
everybody's accusing him.
Just him, though, not anybody else in terms of the whole cast. Now I really wish I spoke Portuguese because I'd love to be able to drill down.
But I think you can translate tweets.
Right. But again, it's
Twitter has that. Yeah,
but it's the same thing even with translating the show. Is just that again, I feel like I lose so much.
I'm not the same. It's not the same. Yeah.
Right. So Renat. Sorry, Henan. I'm going to try to. Now, is there a hard like this, or is it just Henan? Henan.
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 Yeah. But you're really good. You can do the R. A lot of people.
Yeah, because it's in Hebrew also. Yeah.
Yeah, it speaks Hebrew.
Yeah, a lot of people actually think I'm Israeli because of like when I speak sometimes and the like, my accent, and I'm like, nah, I'm Brazilian, but I get it. Yeah.
So Renan meets Anna and gives him, I guess, kind of the same advice that everybody has been giving him, which is just about making a connection. Now I don't remember if that's the first time, but we see several people say in terms of the humor, like I love Anna's humor, but at a certain point it does seem to be an issue for people. Is there such a thing as using humor too much? What do you think, Abby?
Is there such a thing as using humor too much on a reality TV show? Just like what I said about being a little too evil too much, even on that, you got to find like a center, a middle, like balance on everything that you do. So I guess so, sure. You got to find the middle ground, even when you're being funny, I suppose.
Yeah, because in that environment, when you're talking to people and you're trying to figure out if they're real or if they're not. If someone is always hiding behind humor, you can never know. That's what I think they were.
I think you're right.
Worried about.
Such a good point, Anna. Said.
He's always he won't ever say anything seriously. He's gonna every answer is evasive. Everything he goes, he hides behind the humor.
Yeah, and that might be it. I don't, again, and I was really listening to this because I'm somebody, I tend to kind of default to sarcasm. And, that's just kind of the way.
But it's so interesting that you say that. Sorry, I keep on cutting you off. No,
Please.
Because that's another thing. A lot of Brazilians and Americans, they don't understand, sometimes there's a lot. Brazilians don't understand American sarcasm. I said it. Like a lot of us don't get it because it's so
really?
dry. Yes. Yeah. Do you agree, Anna?
I agree, but I agree that they don't understand our sarcasm either.
So it's mutual.
I think it's mutual.
Right. Anna does realize, so they take the ratings to determine the finalists, and then while we're waiting, we see a chat. So Anna opens a chat with Duma, Luma, and JP. And she realizes that, okay, I'm in trouble. I'm using humor too much. Let me, again, try to open myself up. So it's kind of this honesty dump, right? That we've been watching Anna, like you said, she's really not been wanting to have any serious conversations and everything's humor. And then after the ratings, not before, right? But after the ratings, when it's too late for her to actually influence anything, she starts telling them, I've always been obese, I'm adopted, I use humor as a shield. And you know what? All of that might be true. But, right, first of all, like I said, it's too little too late. And secondly, if it's hurting your gameplay, it's hurting your gameplay. But so when she had the right idea, just a little bit too late.
Time.
It was so funny.
Right. And that happened several sometimes in the game.
I was hoping that everyone would be sobbing for me, but everyone has a sob story too.
Right. Well, they were not having it. Right. Even Duma,
they were not having it.
I thought he was the kind of person who I could just see him being more receptive to, a story. And again, it might just be the timing. Like he's already out, and suddenly he's like, "Oh, I'm adopted." He's like, "Well, a little too late for that," And I have said some.
Actually, the pictures he used for Anna, it's from she was a blogger about 5-6 years ago. She was very famous on the internet here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she had a great blog about Big Brother. It was very funny. It was great, but she disappeared from the internet. Never. She's a writer and she has books written.
What happened?
I don't know. She moved to I think she moved to England.
Oh, okay.
But she's not on Twitter anymore.
And they also said on the show that, because I guess Anna is somebody he actually knows, right? So I think he said he used to, but now she writes about feminism. So it's possible, like I said, she's writing books. But it's not something that's so pop culture focused, so people are not as aware of it.
She used to write great things about body positivity and the struggles. She was great. I like her.
Interesting. But I assume it's all in Portuguese?
Yeah.
Even though this is not.
I don't know. Maybe she has stuff written in English. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm just curious because I always do like to then go back and do a deep dive and kind of get to know a little bit of these people on the show. So surprise, surprise, we get the results. Duma and JP are influencers yet again. This is a normal vote. They go to the blue room. They decide pretty quickly that the choice is between Anna and Ray, and they block Anna. Again, not such a big surprise. I think we knew for a while that Anna was probably in trouble. Anna decides to go meet Duma. And what we get to see, I don't know what you think, but I found Rafe, very, very likable.
Yeah, he is.
He was really playing a character for sure. I think that Anna was his alter ego.
Right, but his alter ego seems to be less likable than the real Raph is. And we see this over and over again. We saw this again with like Paloma playing Lucas. It was the same thing. People we love Paloma. I want to get to know this person, right?
I think that as Brazilians, when we're having that moment on reality TV, it's almost like how we watch novela, which is like the telenovela in Brazil. The villains are always the stars. So I think that Brazilians, when they have like their chance to shine, they do not want to be the princesa, the like little girl. They want to be Odete Reutemann. They want to like, vamos detonar tudo, vamos sambar na cara deles. It's just so good. It's so good. I think Brazilian fans are the ones that make me deal with like, the waves and the feelings the best because they always make me feel like so good about just owning it.
Yeah, and I really feel like that is, I feel like in life and in reality TV, if you can just own your game, right? As I've gotten older, I really think that 90% of emotional maturity is owning your shit.
That is so wise. No,
but most people can't do it. Most people can't do it. And it's the same thing on Survivor. You can be the biggest villain, but if you just sit there inside final tribal council and you say, I did that.
Yeah, I did that.
I did that. And I did it because I wanted to win $1 million. You know what? You'll generally win. But most people can't do it.
And that's how Denise always gets to be amazing because she owns her shit. She's a therapist. She knows the secret.
Right. Yeah.
So we're talking The Circle, not Survivor.
Oh no, I can talk Survivor all day with you, but and we'd love to have you back to talk about Survivor. But right now we're trying to focus on The Circle.
Yes.
Watching is not a Survivor.
Life too. It's hard to focus in just one topic when you're talking to me. We always go like all around.
And especially when we're discussing these shows, there's a lot of similarity, and the strategies you use are not identical, right?
Well,
But
they even call it alliances. That's interesting because on the Circle USA, I didn't hear them calling what they were doing alliances, but in the Circle Brazil, they were really using the word alliances a lot. They're like, yeah, we have to do this alliance. This is an alliance. The Circle USA, it was not about alliances. They weren't talking about
what we heard. So we had one podcast with Shuby and a second podcast with Sammy and Miranda. And what they told us was that this kind of stuff was going on. It wasn't a surprise that the Final Five had been together, from the beginning, pretty much. But they were discouraged from talking about that kind
alliances?
of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And strategic clearly happened, but it was not something that they wanted to focus on. Whereas, like I said, in Survivor and Big Brother, we expect to see this, right? It's a big part of the game. Whereas in the Circle, I think they want to keep this veneer of it's a popularity contest, right? It's an individual game.
Well, the Brazilian version was a lot about alliances. They definitely did talk about it being a game and using alliances, and strategy was heavy in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and I agree with you. I don't know why they're trying to discourage that on the show.
Yeah.
But what they told us was that it happens.
Different audience.
Yeah, I was wondering if.
Go ahead, Anna.
I was wondering if production had asked them to talk about alliances, because in Brazil, like, we only have Big Brother. It's the most watched show, and alliances are bad because the public doesn't like alliances. The public thinks it's unfair. It's kind of changing now.
Right.
But I was wondering.
I gotta go to a little bathroom break. Sorry.
Okay. Abby is going to the restroom. She will be back. No, but this is interesting what you're saying, Anna, but this is important to know because we had the same thing in the US, 20 years ago when Survivor started with Richard Hatch. There were people who really saw him as a villain. Remember, we had people who were voting alphabetically, right?
Yeah, that first vote.
Right.
When the other tribe saw, whoa, what's going on? 4 people voted for the same person. What's going on? Inside the game.
But they came around really quickly.
Yeah, they came around really quickly, but they were creating it. But here in Brazil, what was created on the first seasons of Big Brother was, it's not cool, it's unfair, you gotta vote with your heart, and you gotta be faithful to your friends, loyal, and it sucks. But then this is interesting. So then when Brazilians are watching the show and this very overt discussion of alliances, etc., how are people reacting to that? That's why I'm excited about the Circle being a success here, because people are loving it, and I'm loving the fact that they see how good a show can be when the public has no say in who goes out, who goes home, and who stays, and whatever.
But it will be interesting then. I would love to see then for the next season of Big Brother in Brazil. I mean, it's still going to be an audience vote, right? They can't change that. Yeah. But I wonder whether there will be players who will be more open to talking about it.
This season, Big Brother is on right now. It's happening. Mm-hmm. It was not shut down. It's still going on. And this season is very, people are playing hard. So everybody's playing, everybody's making alliances, everybody's counting votes, and it's being awesome. And as a result of that, the last eviction that was Tuesday night, it's you have to vote on the internet. Mm-hmm. You have to just sign in with an email and a password, but you can vote as many times as you want. So the vote goes from Sunday night until Tuesday night, and there were 1,500,000,000 votes.
1 billion with a B.
1 billion with a B.
What is the population of Brazil, more or less? I mean, I know it's a large country, but
200 million.
200 million?
200 million, I think, yeah.
So that's less than the US, right? And I don't think we ever had a show where they got 1.5 billion votes. Well, you said it's the most popular show in Brazil?
Yeah, reality show, yeah.
Interesting. So, so Abby was just,
on open TV, on free TV, it's definitely the most popular show right now. And this season they invited some internet influencers. The cast was half anonymous people and half.
Abby, are you planning to read us and go shopping? Is that right? By the way, that actually works. I was told to take 2 or 3 buffs and put one inside the other. You want to have more than one layer, but other than that, yes, buffs definitely do. This is not medical advice, but my understanding is yes, you can.
Yeah, I read that cloth masks help asymptomatic people not to transmit the virus. I don't think it helps us because it gets on surfaces.
Right.
So
Yeah,
if you're contracted.
Nothing is a panacea, but
people not to spread it.
Right, but if you're somebody like me who's been buying buffs for years, and the only place I've ever had to wear them is the gym, right? You can now give those all out.
It's a good.
Right.
It's a great accessory for sure.
Yes, and all of those Survivor fans who have been, kind of incognito.
I have one of those signed by Abby.
We're having our moments. Even though I get a little bit embarrassed to wear my buffs on the public because it's too much attention. I get shy. Like I get so shy when people are like, ah! And I'm like, oh. Sometimes they just take their camera out from their cars and they're like, Survivor! And I'm like, oh God. So sometimes I just wear a hat.
Even after, because it's been 5 years since your last season?
After, it's so weird. It's so weird.
Well, I mean, it's also, I'm sure if somebody took a camera and pointed us as a Survivor, I'd be freaked out too.
Isn't it like, like you're just trying to cross the street and then there's like a camera on your face. It's really weird.
Yeah, that would kind of freak me out too.
There's no privacy anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's see. So where we are now. So we have our finalists, right? We have JP, Duma, Luma, Marina, and Ray. What do you guys think of our final 5? Were these the people you expected? Is there anybody you wish were here? Is there anybody you wish were not here?
So we have Duma, Marina. Let's see. Duma, Marina, Luma, JP, and Ray. That's the people that I expected. Yes. Did you guys notice they're the majority from the Northeast too? See how they regionally they work together.
Yes.
Yeah. Regionally they came together. Oh my God, it's amazing. Well, the only one that is not from the Northeast is Marina. She's from Rio. Yeah. Amazing, and she won it. She was able to really adapt to the whole thing. She totally deserved it.
Right.
So that.
So let's talk about that. I mean, we can talk about. Let's open it up. Not just the finalists, the win, all of that. So were you rooting for Marina? Are you happy with the win? Is that what you want?
I think Marina was amazing. Are you kidding me? She owned her. She owned herself. She owned her curves. She owned her sass. She was able to adapt so much in the game. She was able to just be the bigger person. When she had issues with Lorraine, she was able to patch them up and just compose herself, even though she would cry, and then she would own it. She would speak herself, her mind. Oh my gosh, she totally killed it. But how was she able to infiltrate into the Northeast Alliance, Anna?
She did not. She was very close to the Moresque.
Since the beginning.
Right.
She was always on the top. He always saved her. That's why
Moresque always loved her from the get-go because he loved that she owned herself. He always had her back because he loved that Marina owned Marina 100%.
There was that time when he told her, he said she wasn't being herself, that she needed to be herself
more.
Be herself more, and then she was a little like that, but then they talked and they sorted things out, and she was never at risk because he was always up there and he was never gonna let her leave.
He had her back.
So then let me ask you, Anna, because it is true that I do think that, that several times she was probably saved by Duma. Does that make her win, less? No? Okay.
No. I mean,
I'm just being kind of a, arguing against.
Question.
Yeah.
Finish your question.
I'm sorry?
Finish your question. I interrupted you.
It's just that, is the fact that Duma had apparently saved her multiple times, does that in any way diminish the value of her win?
No, not at all. It's her. It's to her credit that she had him there.
Right. I don't have
although she lost her position at the top, she still had him.
Right. And she lost all of her other big allies, right? Not from any fault of her own. She lost Lolo, she lost Lucas. She was able to. But again, just kind of, and my question is this. When I was looking
the only person who had something against her was probably Ray.
Yes.
But all the others, they didn't see her as a threat, especially because she wasn't on the top anymore.
Right.
And that was good for her too. And then at the end, when I think Anna's video when she left, Raph's video, she said, "You guys gotta open your eyes. You can't keep those people at the top all the time. You're gonna lose this." I think that was key to Marina's beginning.
Key.
I think it was.
I was very surprised. I wasn't upset. I mean, I did. I
was
loved her
very surprised.
From the beginning. I did feel that, toward the middle of the game, she did kind of lose her way as she was losing her allies.
Yeah.
But when I was looking, I was very surprised by the final results, in the sense that, so let's see, Luma was number 5, Duma came in 4th, she was 3rd, Ray was 2nd. To me, it was almost flipped from kind of what I was expecting. And so my question was this strategic voting that actually kind of went too far, that a lot of people put Marina up first and they figured she's not going to win. And if enough people do that, then obviously she ends up being the winner.
Definitely. I was certain she had no chance of winning anymore. I was starting to root for Luma because I loved her.
Mm-hmm.
I was so like into Luma, Dumareschi, and Marina as well. Like I was just like, if either of them, honestly, I wanted Dumareschi to win. I was just straight up.
I loved him
because I think he was really the best player there. I was really rooting for him, but I'm happy for Marina for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think she had a chance anymore. But then when they started the same. Well, Luma and Duma are at the top all the time.
Right.
So we gotta get
a winner, by the way. Sorry, that's what I don't get it. Who, like the house, like the other players vote?
It's the ranking. Yeah.
The other players don't vote. It's just the top 5. They rank each other.
Yeah, the top 5. Yeah.
So it's luck too. It's luck too.
Yeah. The remaining players, not the eliminated one. The 5 that remain rank the other 4.
Just like the other ratings.
Just like the other ratings.
Right.
It's the same.
So people, again, I'm just going to assume we saw a couple of ratings, but JP is going to vote, if he's smart, rank Duma up, even though he loves him, right? Because he's more likely to win.
I'm thinking it has a lot to do with luck too, because I remember when the winner was revealed, I remember that my first thought was like, damn, she got lucky because of the ranking, where she was in the whole.
Everybody thought Marina has been always on the bottom. She's not gonna win. I'm gonna put her in 2nd.
Right.
So Duma put her in 1st because he liked her. So she got a 1st and a 2nd that we saw. Yeah. And then Luma got a 5th.
Well, everybody got at least 1 first place, and everybody got at least 3rd or 4th place. But we just have to assume that everybody, let's say Marina, the ones that people didn't vote her number 1, they probably ranked her number 2.
Number 2, because they wanted Duma and Luma on the bottom because they were were on the top for the last few rankings.
But then there is this question: is
also Ray? Ray was second place because of that.
Right.
She got so lucky too, Ray, because Ray got so lucky. Yeah. Oh my God. So lucky. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was my first instinct. Now that I'm thinking about watching the finale again, because I saw that last week or the week before that. I remember my first thing that it was luck. It was luck that she got it because she placed herself in the shuffle perfectly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I would not have been surprised, say, after the first batch of episodes, if Marina had won, right, after the second batch, even after, episode 10. I never would have expected her to win. And they did. They tried to edit with that conversation with her, and she did seem to kind of wake up after that. But I do wonder whether a big part of the reason that she won, and again, this is nothing against her because she played an amazing game, but I think she might have gotten a lot of those second places because people didn't see her as a threat. They figured, oh, I'll vote her second because she's not really going to win. So that is one of my critiques of this game is, can, a big player who everybody else realizes is a big player, can they win this game? What do you think, Abby? Or is it just the way that the game is structured? The person who's going to win is always going to be somebody's sidekick. It's not going to be the big strategic player.
You just have to find your place in that shuffle, because Marina was a big player too. She was definitely she always kept herself placed perfectly in that shuffle. You just have to find that middle ground, like we were talking about being the funny one or being the villain. You just have to even find the core within being, well, that's what it is. Being a big player, playing is simple and finding a balance on your strategy. So yeah, I think so. I consider her a big player. And for being a big player, she was able to find a perfect place in the shuffle. You can even see it during the game. They don't want to be number one right away too quickly, and they don't want to be number 5 too quickly either, right? On the bottom, they're really excited. Well, they're not necessarily want to be the influencers either. They're really happy when they're 3 or 2 usually.
Right.
Yeah. Or 4.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta find a perfect place in the shuffle.
And I wonder with Duma and JP that one of the reasons that neither of them won was because they had both been influencers so many times. Yeah. That people were just not going to give them a vote.
Right.
I think we all agree on that.
Yes, we all agree on that for sure.
Sorry, Anna, go ahead.
I think a big player can win. It depends on what people are thinking. It's the same as any jury, I think.
Oh yeah, no, of course. And there is any show.
I don't want to spoil the circles, but you can rank. You can make your ranking thinking of how you think people rank. I think you should do that. I think everybody ranks as they should have.
Right. No, like as you said, everybody kind of an inception.
Or you can rank thinking of, I love this person. I think they deserve to win. I love them. They're great. They're a good person. Or I think they're a good player. It depends. It depends on the person who's voting.
But I think you're right on it. There's this kind of inception thing going on where it's not just you vote ranking what you think of the people, but you have to think about what everybody else is thinking. And then they are thinking about what you are thinking, right? There are multiple levels of this.
And you never know what's
going on. And then in the end, it basically might turn a little bit on luck.
Yeah, definitely.
But having said that, I don't want to go out on a negative note because, I enjoyed this series. Now, I am going to, plank my flag here and say of the 4 seasons I've seen, because I have seen both of the UK seasons, the US and Brazil, I think I'm going to put this in number 4. Certainly before the last couple of episodes, I absolutely would have put it in number 4. And maybe it's because, again, just the subtitling and my lack of understanding of why people are voting the way that they're voting, and even the way. So again, it's possible that it's just me because again, the 2 Brazilians seem to love this season.
I love it.
Yeah, you're a number, Karen.
You're
Okay.
I'm with Anna on that one. You're a majority right now, Anna.
And I have to defer to the people who know much, much more about the topic than I do. Right. So anything else that each of you want to talk about this season that we haven't discussed? Abby, is there anything?
Sure. Sorry, Anna, I'll let you go first.
Sorry. I want to tell you, Karen, that Marina speaks perfect English. If you want to invite her to a podcast, I think she would love that. So does Ana Carla. Ana Carla speaks perfect English too.
That is very good. Now, so I know you've met Ana Carla. Yeah, we'll talk after the podcast because that could be very interesting. Yeah, I just the kind of that the interviews were not going to be possible.
I want to be back when all these really queens are in it. Oh my god!
Yeah. Okay, absolutely.
I would love Marina and Ana Carla for sure.
Let's see if we can.
That would be amazing. Are you kidding me?
Ana Carla is so great. She's amazing.
Love it. You guys will make a lot of fun of my Portuguese. All of my Brazilian friends do.
Well, what happens, especially with me, I've learned having, lived in Israel, you get to the point where we call it being non-lingual, that rather than that you can no longer fully speak your first language, right? You start to lose your English while at the same time your Hebrew is not completely. So I don't know if that's something that you've had, that people are criticizing your accent and your Portuguese because you don't speak it.
They call me gringa now. They call me gringa.
And the Americans call you an immigrant.
The Americans. Go for it.
When I talk to Abby, we always speak English.
Interesting.
A lot of times, but I do
all the time. Sometimes we speak Portuguese for a while, then all of a sudden we start speaking English and we go back to Portuguese. It's so it's a mess.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully everybody will get to see you again really soon, that we will have hopefully at least one person from the cast of The Circle Brazil. Can't promise, but we'll see what we can pull off.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
But for right now, how can people follow you? Ana, why don't you go first? Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm at Ana Paula RJ from Rio de Janeiro on Twitter. On Instagram, I'm at Californiana.
Californiana?
Yeah.
Okay, cute.
That's it.
Okay. And what about you, Abby? Where
you can find me at the Abby Maria. TheAbiMaria. Both.
And that's across Twitter.
Instagram and Twitter, both. Yeah.
Okay. And for me, you can see again, if you look, I can never figure out how to do this. There we go. Down, that is my Twitter handle is at Karen Talks a Lot. At Facebook and Instagram, you can follow me.
Why?
Sorry?
I wonder why your handle is that.
Karen Talks a Lot.
Why that's your handle, Karen?
Talks a lot. She's being funny. That's the Brazilian sense of humor, you see?
I do talk a lot. Nobody has looked at this Twitter handle and say, I have no idea why you chose that. But if you want to follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, I am old, I am basic. I still use my Facebook pretty accurately at Karen Bell, Bell, like ding-a-ling-a-ling. That's my main name, Eisenberg. Now, just coming up on Survivor NSFW this week on the free side of the podcast, Matt and Johnny are going to be joined by Lex Vandenberg of Survivor Africa. And that will be at 10:05 p.m. EST Wednesday night after a special 2-hour Survivor episode. We don't know why this is 2 hours, but we are being told that it's 2 hours. We don't know if it's a double boot, but in any case, whatever it is, it will be Lex together with Matt and Johnny at 10:05 EST. And on the Patreon side, if you become a patron of Survivor NSFW, we have Flick from Australian Survivor Season 1 and Australian Survivor All-Stars. And then we also have a rare sighting of the War Dog, who will be discussing the top 10 bad guys of wrestling on Sunday. If you want to listen to or watch either of those podcasts, you want to sign up at patreon.com/Survivor NSFW. Besides all of the regular content, you get those patron special episodes. You get patron Q&A episodes where you can ask Matt and Johnny anything you want. Castaway rewatches of their seasons and other seasons. Access to a special patron Facebook group and more. Please check it out at Patreon-Survivor NSFW. And of course, the t-shirts, right? This is Johnny Fairplay's podcast network. So that's how it all got started. You go to johnnyfairplay.com. And if you buy a t-shirt, you get a call from Johnny Fairplay.
Wow.
And it's a real thing. This is how I originally met Johnny. I bought a t-shirt and he called me and the rest is history.
How exciting.
Cool.
We have two new t-shirts. One is with Sandra, and the idea that she is, still the queen.
Yeah,
We also Johnny, for any of those of you who have seen Tiger King, there is also a Johnny Exotic t-shirt. And many others for Winners at War and other seasons. So Anna and Abby, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that we'll be seeing both of you soon with some Brazilian players. And thanks anyway, again, everyone, for joining us. See you next time.
Thanks for inviting us, Karen.
Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry if I spoke too much.
No.
Never.
See you all next time. Bye.
Here,
Bye.
that way. Bye.
Bye.